Hora pico, rush hour in Mexico City. For residents here, it's simply part of the daily grind. There are some 8 million vehicles on the city's roads. They release tons of dust particles into the air. That in turn creates smog.
The city doesn't just feel dirty, you can see it too. Sometimes you look out and say, oh, it's a cloudy day, but then you realize, no, it's actually smog.
Respiratory illnesses are really common. It just shows that the air here isn't especially good.
Older vehicles, especially buses and trucks, are the main source of Mexico City's air pollution. They cause by far the most damage to the environment. The government wants to take as many as possible off the roads. This is one way. Drivers who have their old vehicles scrapped are eligible for government subsidies, an incentive to switch to more environmentally friendly models. Germany's International Development Agency, the GIZ, is advising city employees on how to run the program. Some 400,000 trucks have already been destroyed.
For every truck that's destroyed as part of the scrappage scheme, there's a reduction of 20 tons of greenhouse gas emissions per year. That leads to a significant improvement in Mexico's air quality.
Even better than trading in your old vehicle is hopping on a bike instead. These eco-bicis can be ridden for a small fee. But has it led to better air quality? Mexico City tests air quality at 29 different locations. Staff at the city's Environment Ministry take measurements of a range of pollutants, including the probable carcinogen cadmium. Employees calculate average levels and publish their findings online. The measurements often point to poor air quality.
We have to consider it in a historical context. The air used to be bad all the time. Mexico City was one of the dirtiest cities in the world, but the environmental policies of the last 25 years have led to a significant reduction in pollution. The good news is that this trend is set to continue, and that despite the fact that the city is still growing.
But another solution is taking root too. Biologist Jerónimo Reyes works at Mexico's largest public research university, the UNAM. He's planted an 800-square-meter garden on the roof of a private school. The building is located right in the city center. Rooftop gardens like these have become increasingly popular in Mexico City.
There's no space down below for parks or gardens like these. Mexico City is overpopulated, and there's nowhere to plant green areas like this. But they're just what the city needs because the plants produce oxygen and capture pollutants.
In summertime, the layer of vegetation helps cool the buildings down. And in winter, they provide some insulation, so that less heating is required. Most of the plants here are succulent, meaning they store moisture in their fleshy leaves. They can also survive for long periods without water. As a result, the garden requires very little maintenance. It's ideal for busy people who want to relax, not work outdoors. The researcher has set up a kind of laboratory on the roof of the university. With the help of his students, he wants to find out which plants are best suited to the rooftop project. He's determined only to grow native Mexican plants in his gardens. But that's a surprisingly ambitious task.
En la Ciudad de México,
80% of the plants in Mexico City, whether in public parks, gardens, or homes, are exotic, meaning they don't come from Mexico. But we have such a diversity of plant species here. We're the 4th or 5th most species-rich country in the world, but we don't really make use of it. With these roof gardens, we want to encourage people to use the biodiversity and learn to value it.
One of the biggest proponents of rooftop gardens is Environment Minister Tania Müller-Garcia. She's turned the project into a political issue. She says the gardens promote well-being as well as reducing smog.
Many people find it hard to get to a park to relax during the week. The roof terraces at workplaces in the city center give people just that, a moment of calm in natural surroundings. It helps relieve stress and makes people feel good.
The government has financed almost 22,000 square meters of rooftop gardens. They're located on top of public buildings, including schools and hospitals. The gardens are not just attracting human visitors either. Birds and insects are benefiting as well. This rooftops ecosystem now boasts more than 90 different species, and that number is set to grow.